I have had many veterans I worked with around the world. And the number one thing that they tell me is the hardest when they transition out of the military is that day one. Can you share with us, for our viewers, what advice would you give when you transition out of the military and starting the next chapter in your life? And Jason.
Best piece of advice I could give is don't transition. Stop accepting that you're gonna make a transition. There is no transition, right? We PCS from one duty station to another, to another, to another, you know. Um, I PCS 7 or 8 times in 23 years, maybe even more than that. I don't know. But the when I left the military, there was no transition. I just PCS to the new thing. That was it, right? And I think I don't know how to really say this nicely, but I think there's this misconception of this victim mentality of veterans coming out of the military, and I think it's been manufactured to a certain degree. And because I don't think as many veterans have this problem as people think they do. Um, why? Because most of us, if you were in the last 20 years, you did at least, you know, three to between 3 and 8 combat tours. Pretty sure you can figure some shit out, right? Um, and I think we have to change this dialogue a little bit to more of, well, let's stop using words like awareness, and everybody's aware of a lot of things. In the military, they use suicide awareness. We don't need suicide awareness. We all know it exists, right? It's not a secret, right? It's the same with leaving the military and starting a new chapter. It's not a secret. We all know it's going to happen at some point. It's how we make the flip of the switch. And for me, I was fueled by that, right? I often kid with people that most veterans are fueled by nicotine, caffeine, and hate, right? Those three things. So, um, it's the transition isn't really a transition. It's just another stepping stone in life. And I think we just have to relook at how we're using words because words mean things.
Wow, that was pretty powerful. Um, Jason, I mean, not Jason, Nathan.
Yeah, it's there's a lot of truth in what Jason said. And there's some things that I don't entirely agree on. So for me, I agree. Like, we place too much stigma on, like, hey, you're gonna have mental health issues. You're gonna be, considering suit. Like, they're telling us all these things. And here's something that I know irrefutably in life is, like, our thought processes shape our reality. So we are believing that that's how we're going to be, then, and that it's going to be a struggle, then that's what it's going to be. What I've learned, though, like, in my experience, it's an identity crisis. And so you got to learn how to navigate that, because it doesn't matter how, when, what, where, why. Like, when you're serving in the military and then all of a sudden the next day you're not, everything that you built your life upon, and there's debate that we had as far as, like, how long did you serve and this, that, and the other. But regardless, when you get out of the military, everything that you built your life around while you were in the military is gone all of a sudden. It's just not anymore. It's all kind of pretend, to be honest with you. And so you get out and you have to reshape your identity around who you want to be and become. Right. And so this is an important component that I don't think people give too much credit to, or enough credit to, as they are working through the transition out of the military. Like, hey, who do I really want to be? You know what I mean? Like, who is it that I want to be? Who am I becoming as I go from leaving, soldier X behind? Who is the person on the horizon, right? And so, anyway, outside of that identity crisis that we go through, another challenge that I've learned is that a lot of times we do it in isolation, right? So we go through this identity crisis and we don't lock in with the people we were serving with, because usually out tempo is still pretty high and those jokers are still playing the game. It's not that they don't want to be there with us. It's not that we don't want to be there with them. It's just that, hey, we're kind of moving in a different direction. And then I know most civilians, I know for me getting out, I didn't relate to most civilians, because the world that I left and the world that I came back to were very different. From 2006 to 2017, we saw drastic change in society. And there was a lot of things that were now acceptable that wouldn't even been thought of when I was a kid and growing up, right? And so it was different reintegrating, because I can't relate to these people and they sure as hell can't relate to me. And I don't know how to communicate with these people in a way that's going to keep me out of trouble. Because I had a sailor's mouth, you know what I mean, as a soldier, for sure. And so there were just these things.